life. Heal, heal, Full heal podcast for life. Welcome back, Full Heal Podcast. I am your host, Rafael Chaidas, the host of the Full Heal Podcast. Joining me today, my buddy, Ryan Dempsey.
Ooh, yeah. The cream of the crop of the Full Heal Podcast guest list is back. Dig it.
Ryan, I'm going to say this once. I'm the Macho Man voice around here. All right? I imitate the Macho Man. How you doing, buddy?
Well, we're in lockdown over here.
Complete lockdown again?
What's that?
Complete lockdown again?
Complete lockdown in Windsor, yeah. Last one was 3 months. Right now, we're 28 days to start. And
Oh, like the fucking zombie movie.
Fucking legit, man. So January 11th, we get to find out the next step of what's going to happen. But
so I've stopped watching the news since like all the election shit was boring the fuck out of me and all this COVID stuff.
Right.
But I've gone out of, like yesterday, I went out toy shopping and I hit up a couple of the like disc replay. But then I tried to go to Target. It was super packed, so I just did a U-turn. I'm like, I'm out of here. I went to like 5 and Below, super packed, out of there. I'm like, all these people are risking COVID to find cheap deals on Christmas gifts. So what I'm gonna do is
it, right? Like everyone. That's the problem. Is everyone's trying to get out there. It's that time of the year where they're like threatening lockdowns. They're threatening limited people in stores, and it's Christmas time, so people are like, well, Christ, I can't risk that. I better get out. So it's the double whammy. Like, you can't be out there, but everyone wants to be out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let me tell you something, Ryan. No, I got out of there. What I'm gonna do is I'm getting everyone like stuff from Amazon. Something everyone has to understand it's COVID. They'll get something. It'll be something cool, but it's not going to be something expensive or anything.
Exactly. Yeah.
I got myself, what is it? Call of Duty World at War. Got that for me.
Oh, okay. Nice.
And, well, I guess if Jesus watches these, which he doesn't, he'll know what he's going to get. I got myself a Hardy Boys 2-pack. The one with the titles and the Brood. So I ordered myself that, and I got him one.
Nice, like the old school style.
Yeah. I got one for me and one for him. So he unless he watches the show, like I said, he does not gonna know. But he doesn't watch it. She didn't even fucking comment in the goddamn group. So
some bitch.
Yeah, goddamn it. So
step your game up.
He'll get that for Christmas. I wonder what he'll get me. Other than that, yeah, no, I've been avoiding the COVID crowds. Like I said, I wanted to go shopping yesterday, but fuck that. I can't risk it. I can't go down at work right now. I'm super important. I'm covering for a lot of people. People are on vacation. People are going down with COVID. So I need to stay healthy.
That's it, right, man? It just seems like everyone is. It just seems like everyone knows someone that's getting affected by it now.
Mm-hmm.
Like my dad, I stepped on my parents' place yesterday and was talking to my parents, and I said, stop by tomorrow, do some stuff around your place for you, blah, 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 blah. And I was, oh, well, Dad will be here. So I thought you were tomorrow. Oh, well, his place is shut down, so he's working from home because they had to do a deep clean because someone tested positive. I'm like, oh, fuck. So my dad was just getting back from vacation. So luckily he was not there when shit went down kind of deal. So he's in the clear.
Yeah.
But it's like, fuck. Like 3 days earlier, if my dad was working, he could have been exposed.
Yeah. So at my job, we do cleanings after we leave and when we get there. We've set out time. and we have designated times where we clean common areas. So everyone has their own designated common area at a certain time. We've all scattered our lunches. Some of us come in 15 minutes later. Some of us come in 15 minutes earlier. Some of us come in at regular time in order to not have the locker room crowded, in order to have different lunch times, just by 15 minutes. But it avoids us all clustering up. And like we've done enough to where we can avoid it, or if someone does come down with it,
Right.
we already come in cleaning, expecting it to be infected. Like it might not be,
Yeah.
but we're
Well,
taking
and you
it
know
as
what?
it's already
That's something
infected.
that that's something that I've always done is I always look at it like not even like with COVID. I go in like not everything, but I go in expecting the worst, right? So that I'm prepared for something to happen. So with COVID, I go in and like, okay, well, when I start working, I'm gonna wash my hands a bit. I'll get over there.
Yeah, I'm good.
No, I'm joking. Like I go into work and I'm like, I'm gonna wash my hands that little bit extra. I'm gonna take care of my station that little bit more because that's always how I've been. Um, so my cautiousness is already well ingrained in me,
Hmm.
which is kind of nice. I feel like that's kind of one thing that's I don't want to say it's kept me safe because obviously there's no way to be safe when there's other people that can like cough on something when you're near. But for cleanliness purposes, like I know for a fact that I for me personally, I'm always that OCD level ahead of
Hmm.
other people.
Yeah, I don't know what the standards for sanitation over there in Canada are. I know what they are for Illinois. I know they vary from state from here in Illinois. But at one point, I did have to get that. So the whole wash and the hands thing and the whole keeping clean thing was kind of already a do. Now I just have to implement it in non-food related places.
Exactly, right?
Yeah. But I try to do it here with my mother, and I like she cooks and does or organizes her fridge the way that she organizes it, and it fuck. I'm like, it makes me angry because you
Right.
see meat on top of vegetables and vegetables on top of fucking like the meat's wrapped, but you're not supposed to do that either because it'll seep through. My mom buys stuff and freezes it right away and like freezes meat and then cooks it, and I'm like, you're
Oh yeah.
like just shit like that. But that's
Those
not even
small little
sanitation.
things.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
like the whole putting like the meat like in the vegetables, and it's like you're supposed to put certain things in certain areas, and but they didn't take the classes or anything. You would think it was common sense, but no, I didn't know
Well,
that
that's
before I
it, right?
started
Like
doing it.
a lot of people, yeah, a lot of people, a lot. I would like when I went to college, I had like 13, 14 years of kitchen experience when I went to college, and we had to do the health and safety course and the sanitation course, and we're sitting there and we had to watch these videos and you have to do these like a bunch of quizzes. The amount of people that failed these simple sanitation quizzes, I'm like, how? How can you not
Hmm.
like? It just seems like common not like. I mean, again, I was young, like 4 or 5 when I started being interested in the kitchen with my mom, and I was young when I started working in restaurants. So again, like I do have that little advantage, but still, like you said, like I'm gonna put the lettuce here and the carrots here, and I put the chicken on top of that, and then I'm gonna put this open steak on top of that, and it's like, what?
Yeah.
Like I just don't get like how you don't. Maybe certain things I can understand you not getting, but the basics I feel like everyone should have a common knowledge of, right?
Yeah.
Like it's, and the same thing with this, like I was talking to a friend of mine. She works at a grocery store, and she was saying how these people they just like fight and argue about masks and shit. And I'm like, I agree with them. It sucks, but doesn't mean I agree with them that we shouldn't have to wear them.
Hmm.
Like I understand all the points that both sides make. Like it sucks having to wear these masks and wash our hands and sanitize and blah, blah, but at the same time, I would much rather do that than risk my health, my kids' health, my parents' health, my friends' health. Like it's a fucking mask. You don't die wearing it. Yeah, you might not be able to breathe perfectly, but you're not suffocating. And you put on hand sanitizer that might smell a little weird, but you're not licking your hands afterwards.
Mhm.
You know, you're not smelling your hands. You're just killing some germs and you're going about your day. Like, oh well.
Yeah. Well, let's
you're gonna live.
let's kill
Literally,
this.
you're going to live, and that's the key point.
Let's just move on. I'm tired of this COVID talk.
I agree.
Let's talk about what we're here to talk about. Some
The cream
wrestling.
of the crop.
Yeah. So today we're gonna cover the Macho Man Randy Savage. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Dig it.
So how me and Ryan kind of do it. Well, it's kind of evolved into this. We both pick 3 matches, and we cover them and we'll break them down. And then we started doing the profiles of certain wrestlers. So now it's kind of evolved to where we'll touch on key moments and we'll go through their career, and then we'll talk about the matches that we picked in a little bit more greater detail. Those 6 specific matches as we go through the career of the Macho Man. Yeah. So Macho Man, well, his name is really Randy Poffo, 2nd generation wrestler. His brother's a wrestler. He was born in Columbus, Ohio.
Randy, baby.
He was born in Columbus, Ohio. What is it? November 15th, 1952. And sadly, he passed away, which we might talk about. May 20th, 2011. We're just going to touch on the WWF career. Maybe we'll go through a part 2 sometime in the future.
Yeah,
part 2 being WCW.
There definitely has to be a WCW because, I mean, no, I don't want to say it was as good as his WWE career, but it was definitely a very memorable part of it. Because he was there for what? Like, WWE
94 till
2000?
2001, yeah. I think he went away, came back towards the end of the...
So I mean, he was... God, so he was there about 7 and 7 then almost. Or no, 10... 84 to so like 10 and 7, give or take. So I mean, like, his run in WCW was almost as long.
I think he was a 4-time champion too in WCW, opposed to
WCW
2-time champion.
WCW, they gave him more titles, but his reigns, I think, were short. Like, he had one where, like, he won the title on Nitro and lost it on Thunder kind of deal, or like they did like some shitty jobs to him there. But that's another topic, like you said, for another day. We're here for the WWF run.
Yeah, we'll get into his title reigns in the WWF, which are a lot longer.
And I was shocked, like, at how little they were. There was 3.
Yeah, 1 IC, 2 World Heavyweights.
Yeah, and
I could have sworn there was more IC title reigns, but I
thought there was a tag team in there for some reason, but he was never a Triple Crown winner. He was like, I was legit shocked that I have this weird I forget what they call it, where you make yourself believe that something happened. I thought the Mega Powers had the tag titles for some stupid reason, and I always forget that Hogan never had a tag title run before Edge, and Macho Man never had a tag title.
Yeah. So I don't know a lot about his young career besides when he turns 18. He's a minor league baseball player for the St. Louis Cardinals. Yep. I also heard he played for like the minor leagues and for the White Sox, different organizations in the Midwest.
He had a real. He was a really athletic child. Like, if you watch any of the documentaries on the network, they go into depth with his athletic career and how just naturally gifted he was. Like, he just excelled at what he did. I mean, his father had the Guinness World Record for
sit-ups,
and he stopped at some point. And they said, "Why'd you stop?" He goes, I broke the record by like this many, and I just decided to stop. Like, it was like a stupid number too. Like, he stopped at like a random number past the record, and so he comes from a very athletic family, and
he played from 70 to 74, so he had a little bit of a career. 289 games. 2.54 ERA, 16 home runs, and 129 RBIs.
Just never made the majors, right?
Just never made the majors.
Couldn't. Yeah, I think he just couldn't break through. He was good enough for the minors, but not good enough to break it into the big leagues, kind of thing. Which for him it might be a failure, but for wrestling fans like us around the world, we're thankful that he couldn't make it. Right?
He probably is more popular. Like if he would have gone down baseball, ultimately I think the more popular lane would have been wrestling. To me, he's top 5. I like him more than Hogan. At that time, he was at the level of Hogan, and if you go back and you look at him now, he's way better of a wrestler.
I love that you said that because I was thinking about that earlier today. Like, he's in my Mount Rushmore, my personal Mount Rushmore of wrestlers. And I was thinking about where he would rank in a lot of people's lists, because whenever people talk about all-time greats, they talk, the names that you hear are, you right off the bat, Bruno Sammartino, Ric Flair, Hogan, Austin, Rock, Undertaker, Bret Hart. And then you kind of get into like a weird second tier of like Jericho, Macho Man, Shawn Michaels. Oh, no, sorry. Shawn Michaels would be the top tier. But you get into this like weird second tier of guys that deserve, like Jericho and Macho Man are top tier guys. And I don't think their name gets tossed around a top 4, top 5 all-time list as much as they should. I feel like there should be more debates about those guys as total packages. Like, on the mic, Macho Man was probably the best on the mic in the 80s over Hogan, over Rick Rude, over Bobby the Brain, over the Ultimate Warrior, easily.
Well, going back and watching some of these, I wouldn't just watch the match. I'd watch because they always had post and pre vignettes or interviews, and the post ones for Macho were fucking. They were intense. They were on point, intense.
Man. Yep.
Super believable, and we'll get into some of them as we go on and talk about the matches.
And I don't know how much you're gonna go like pre WWE, but the one thing that I took away from watching a lot of the like vignettes and documentaries and matches, people don't get the story of Miss Elizabeth that well. People know Macho Man and Miss Elizabeth today, but the story that was told about this free agent wrestler, Macho Man Randy Savage, and he's looking for a manager, dude, you go back and you watch some of the like the interviews and stuff like that leading up to his choosing Miss Elizabeth out of like who was like this shock pick. They told some great stories about who is this manager going to be. And people are pitching to him, and he's going to have these classic, no, not classic, like 3-4 star matches, and then people are pitching to him, and then he's cutting these promos. Like, that was a fantastic little chapter of his career, man. Like,
yeah. So the beginning of his wrestling career, he starts off as a Spider, kind of a Spider-Man gimmick in 1973.
Kind of ironic when you think about his Spider-Man.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah, Bonesaw. If you don't come down, I'm going up there for you.
If you haven't seen Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire, and go watch it, and you'll understand what we're talking about.
Everyone's got the saws. They're sawing away at their arms. That was beautiful.
Did I mark out in the theater when I watched that? 1,000%.
Yeah. He worked for GCW, Georgia Championship Wrestling, as a Spider, and he was going to be Randy Poffo, but good old Ole Anderson told him people wouldn't like the Poffo last name, Poffo didn't fit the Savage style that he had, so he adopted the name Savage. And then I think it was his mom or his mother-in-law.
His mom either read it or heard it on the radio or TV.
Macho Man.
That Macho Man was going to be this new term, like kind of like the metrosexual of the early 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
Macho Man was going to be the new term for this time frame, and she told him it, and she's like, I don't know what it means, but Macho Man's gonna be big, and he's like, I don't know what it means either, but I'm gonna use it.
Boom, Macho Man, Randy Savage.
Kind of like Stone Cold, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wife puts his tea down, he doesn't drink it. She's like, if you don't drink it, to get Stone Cold.
Yeah.
Ooh, well, goddamn, son, that sounds like a great nickname.
Powerful start in. Let's see. Wait a minute. Macho Man. Yeah, so Macho Man Randy Savage is born in GCW. From there, his dad doesn't like the push that him and his sons are getting, so they decide to start their own outlaw promotion, ICW. Not the European one. It was here, one in the States. What is it? I can't remember the name of it. But it disbands after a while, and they kind of just drop it.
It didn't last long.
Yeah, so they join Lawler's promotion.
Down in Memphis?
Yeah, I think CWA.
Continental Wrestling Alliance?
Yeah. I think that's where he joins. And there he feuds with Lawler for the AWA Heavyweight Championship. Eventually tags with Lawler, I think, and they feud with the Rock and Roll Express. He even has like a mini storyline where he pile drives Ricky Morton through the announce table, and they kayfabe he gets injured. Then after that he continues the feud with Lawler for the AWA title. I don't think he ever wins it. I think from there he kind of moves on.
Yeah. If he did win it, it was a short. I'm trying to blank on that now.
I don't think he wins it. I think he moves on as like you were talking about, a very sought after free agent. He had a lot of hype behind him.
It was a great way to hype in this heel baby face. What is he going to be like? Because this is the 80s, right? You could be Hulk Hogan, and if your manager is Bobby the Brain Heenan, you're a heel, right? Like if it all like the manager made the wrestler back then. It's not like it is now, like where like you can be a face with a heel manager and still be a face for some reason. Like we accept it. Back then, if you were an established heel manager and someone you represented someone, that was it. And so no one kind of really knew. Like everyone knew his style. Fans cheered him, but he was cutting these promos that was kind of like insulting guys. So he was kind of like the heel. So it was like, what's he going to be? Who's his manager going to be? And he ultimately shocks the world with all of these pitches from guys, and he doesn't even pick a manager. He picks a valet and picks I'll say it. He picks the biggest woman in professional wrestling history. I don't think there's anyone bigger than Miss Elizabeth. I don't care who you are. I don't care wrestler, diva, valet, anything. I think Miss Elizabeth is the number one.
Well, you even hear, I think it's Fink. No, it's Mean Gene call her the first woman of wrestling.
100%. She was. Without Miss Elizabeth, there's no Missy Hyatt, there's no Sunny, there's no Sable.
There's no Macho Man.
Yeah, like you can have your fabulous Moolahs, you can have your Jacquelines, you can have your Alondra Blaze, your Beth Phoenix. You can have all of these girls, your Trish Stratus's, your Litas. But what Miss Elizabeth did for women in wrestling elevated it so much more, right? Mm-hmm. Like, because she took bumps, and she wasn't a wrestler. That was big. I think a lot of people
would argue with us and say maybe Moolah or what's her name? The older one.
Moolah Mae Young?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But out of popularity, Miss Elizabeth is mentioned more, and maybe just because she came around at the right time when there was TV and there was these giant stadium
I think, but
shows.
yeah, like I don't like. I think
Because I think
I
it's
just
unfair to just throw her out there and kind of just ignore these women. But then again, the
I think Miss,
popularity and the
but
eyes
it's the
were on
same.
Miss Elizabeth.
But that's the same. But then we have the same. That's where you look at like the Bruno Sammartino Hulk Hogan, right? Who was better? Bruno Sammartino had the title for like 2,000 days, but Hulk Hogan's is arguably the bigger star, right? I think Miss Elizabeth did more for women's wrestling because she kind of broke the ground. Like, think about like whatever. Oh God, I'm gonna be off, but I think Fabulous Moolah was champion for like 10,000 days, recognized. But it's because she never defended the title because there was no want for it. When Miss Elizabeth came on TV, suddenly guys wanted to see women on TV, and that's what brought Alondra Blaze in and Bull Nakano in the early '90s, and that's what led to the women's push in the '90s, which led to the women's evolution that we saw in the last 5-6 years, right? Like Fabulous Moolah was 100% fantastic in the ring, and I take nothing from her. I take nothing from Mae Young. I take nothing, but women's wrestling was. I'm gonna sound like such a fucking pig. Women's wrestling was like midget wrestling. Back then, it was the sideshow to the main thing, and the main thing was the men's event. That's the sad truth. Miss Elizabeth brought women's wrestling, I think, to the forefront. She put women in wrestling on the map because she was the manager that could take, like I said, she could take the bumps. She could be sexy. She could be glamorous. She could talk. She could sell an angle. She could do she did so much without talking, and then she could go on the mic and go even farther. And like Fabulous Moolah would just walk it with the title, defend it, and leave.
I think she did a lot for women in wrestling. I don't know necessarily about women's wrestling. I think she made Macho Man. Without her, there is no Macho Man, in my opinion. With her in her manager position, they were able to create the Macho Man character, and they're able to angle it off and branch it off into all these different sections of. It's not just your stereotypical Macho Man. Now you have him being super protective and bullying Liz, but then you have him super sweet to Liz, and then at a
That's the
point
thing
you have
too.
him
Like the
with
thing with that,
Sherry.
like how he had, she held the ropes for him.
Yeah.
Think about that, right?
Well,
Like
like
that was
he
the
was like
wild thing.
super misogynistic. He would bully Liz, and this is after he turned down classy Freddie Blassie, Bobby the Brain Heenan, Jimmy
Slick.
Hart. Yeah, he turned down all these managers, and he took Liz.
And no one
But
knew about her too, right? Like when he said her name, that was her introduction. Like no one even knew about her. It was all these male managers, and then he drops this valet on you, and you're just like, who?
mm-hmm.
And she comes out, and she's. I mean, obviously, she was always seen in those sequin gowns with the gloves and whatnot.
Yeah, I don't think that Macho Man character is able to develop as much as it did without her. He needed her.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I mean, think about how many storylines his character depended on her for,
mm-hmm.
even into the early 90s with his late run with the company.
And without her, Macho Man isn't in those positions to carry the ball when Hogan's out doing movies, when they don't put the title on Hogan. Without Liz, he's not there to be able to carry the title. He's not there to be able to take the reins and continue to draw. He might not have drawn as much as Hogan, but he was still able to draw and captivate the fans. Macho Man is someone I remember as a kid, like as a big part. But the years, now that I go back and watch, in my formative years, he was gone. Like
Yeah.
when I was that's why I'm a Razor Ramon fan, because he was gone. The thing is, I knew who Macho Man was before my formative years. He was there. Like he was there being talked about like Hogan. So like when I start remembering wrestling, yeah, I remember the Diesels, I remember the 1, 2, 3 kids, but I remember the Macho Mans, which their careers in the WWF were dwindling. Hulk Hogan's careers were dwindling, but the thing is, they were so big, and I had their LJ, no, was it the LJN? The Galoob ones, the rubber figures, because they were,
LGN, yeah, that was LGN.
okay, because they were that big. Like, the dates on some of these, I wasn't even a fucking thought in my dad's head. Like, 86 and shit like that, the years that we're talking about, I was 2 years away from being born.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, I look back. I was watching that Netflix documentary, "The Toys That Made Us," and it was the wrestling one, and they talked about the. I don't think it was. Oh Christ, who made the ones that you just started collecting with Andre and that? Like, was it not Hasbro? Was it? It was LJN.
Mattel.
Was it
Or
Mattel?
no, yeah,
The little hard
Hasbro makes
the
the
hard
little
plastic
ones.
ones.
Yeah, the little ones.
Yeah,
It's Hasbro.
so and they show those ones and they show the LJNs, and I got flashbacks because I remember sitting in my friend's basement and I had 3 figures and they were all Macho Man. I had Macho Man with the orange, like the little Hasbro with the orange trunks with the 3 stars.
Mm-hmm.
I had the purple trunk Macho Man with the scepter and crown for Macho King, and I had the LJN Macho Man with the pink trunks and yellow boots.
Yeah.
And I saw, and I realized, I'm like, fuck, man, like Macho Man was really big in my youth. And
right now I have Royal Rumble 91 Macho Man,
Royal
Rumble, or no, WrestleMania 3 Macho Man, WrestleMania 7 Macho Man, NWO Red and Black Macho Man. I think that's all the Macho Mans I have. Oh, and I have other Macho King, green and purple Macho King.
Oh yeah.
Damn, I have
That's a good one.
A lot of Macho Men.
You have a lot of Macho Men.
Yeah, he's like, we kind of skipped on it, but like, he's probably my if I think about it and I go back and now going back and covering wrestlers and everything, I probably have to say Razor's my number 1, Eddie'd probably be my number 2, but close second is Macho Man, or close to Eddie.
Like I said, he's my Mount Rushmore. I go, Brett and Austin are my 1A, 1B. Like, they're always going to be interchangeable depending on that day. Macho Man's always top 3 for me. Always will be.
Yeah, I think Macho rounds off my top 3.
There's no way, charisma, in-ring ability, storytelling, promos, entrance, everything about. I'm going to say the only part of his career I think I didn't like was when it was Gorgeous George, Medusa, and who, I forget the third girl. I think it was Molly Holly was the third girl. Yeah, it was that late run in WCW. He had that black mesh shirt, black tights.
Oh yeah, late WCW.
That very
TNA?
late.
Did he do that in TNA too? Or did he come out with a hat, with like a dark hat and like a trench coat?
Yeah, I think that era, it was that 2000, 2001 plus, was like just that end of his career he deserved a better send off.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say. Otherwise, his WWF run is fantastic. His early WCW run, his joining the NWO, but the whole time the feud with Hogan while in the NWO, joining the Wolfpack, then before WCW got all convoluted with the NWO, he had a fantastic career, and like I said, he just deserved a better finish than Team Madness at the very end, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, it is what it is. Not every cowboy gets to ride off into the sunset.
And he did have that sick cowboy hats all throughout his career. But yeah, we're barely scratching on his career. So February 24th, 1986, after a couple failed tries at Tito Santana for the Intercontinental Championship, he finally uses a steel object that is hidden in his trunks. hits Santana over the head and wins the Intercontinental Championship for his first and only time. He does hold
And
it for like a year and a
a
half.
year, a year and a bit, yeah,
Yeah,
like,
maybe under
that,
not a half, but like he definitely holds it for a
yeah, because
year.
I think Honky Tonk had it for I think 15 months, and that was the longest. So I think he must have. It's the longest today. So he must have had it for like 14 months or 13 months.
Hmm.
He definitely had it for over a year because he won it before WrestleMania, and he loses it at WrestleMania. I believe. I could be wrong on that one.
Yeah, so no, you're definitely right. Like, so he'll go on to lose it at the match that we'll talk about in a little bit. Yeah, so 1986 he beats Tito Santana. January 4th, 1986. Holy shit! Why am I moving backwards? Oh no! Well, I guess I forgot to mention. Steel. George the Animal Steel is
Um,
kind of going after Liz. He starts. Um, yeah, I think I skipped over that because he chose her as his manager. They have their whole run thing where he's being an asshole, and then George the Animal Steel kind of turns him face because now he's protecting her against him. He wins the title, and then he goes on to feud with George the Animal Steel. I'm pretty sure.
yeah, yeah, and that's it was a weird, and yeah, because George Hamill wanted Elizabeth,
Hmm.
and he was jealous of that because Elizabeth was his woman.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that was what kind of led to ultimately the WrestleMania Steamboat in the corner, being in Steamboat's corner kind of thing.
Yeah, because he beats Steel twice or like three times during the feud because he's going after Liz, which leads to the Steamboat match at WrestleMania 3, which is the first match that we're gonna cover. Right? We didn't skip one, did we? Let's see, Mike. I took a fuckload of notes on these fucking. Try to
I'm
counteract time set it up.
just to slide
Yep.
in. So he won the title officially on the 24th of February '86,
Mm-hmm.
and then he lost it at
March 29th, 1987.
yeah. So give or take 13-month title
Mm-hmm.
reign.
Yeah.
So yeah, just over a year.
Yeah. So it is the Macho Man versus Ricky the Dragon Steamboat in the super famous match that everyone talks about and regards as one of the greatest matches of all time. I know I've criticized this match in the past, and I'm not gonna. I guess I am going to rescind what I said before, and it's just because we put it in the line of Intercontinental Championship matches that all had tried to outdo each other at a certain point because they all springboard off this match. They take this match as a reference point, and how can we outdo this one, or how can we outdo the one that did Savage Steamboat? They're always looking back to this specific matchup because it
Yeah.
was one of the first times we had two workhorses that belonged in the Intercontinental Championship level because Hogan was there and was stopping everybody, but that belonged in the Intercontinental Championship level that got to go at it on the main stage and put on one at that time what was probably the greatest match of all time. Maybe besides Steamboat and Flair,
And
which
Flair.
weren't as televised. This was a WrestleMania 3, Giant or Andre the Giant versus fucking Hulk Hogan was here at the same event.
And that, but I mean, that was more Hogan Andre. I think was a bigger event,
Mm-hmm.
or also, you know what? I'll say it's a better event than a better match.
Yeah.
Steamboat Macho Man. I watch it. And I watch it. And I watch it. I like the match. I don't hate it.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about it on the IC title match or the IC title episode that we did, and we talked about it on another one. I forget where else we talked about it. I'm not in the business, so I don't. I can look at it, I guess, this way from my point of view. I cook, right? When I see someone cook and they plate something, I admire it and I want to replicate it or better it, right? I can see how a wrestler feels about that match that way. For me, I don't think it's as good as people say because I'm looking at it from the outside fan point of view, not a performer's point of view. I can see why a performer would like it because it was a good match. And back then in 87, it probably was a be all end all kind of match, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if you put Steamboat Savage that exact same match with Shawn Michaels, Kurt Angle at WrestleMania 21, you put those two matches back to back, I think Shawn Michaels, Kurt Angle blows that one out of the water. But I can see why back then that match was so big. It was and there was the story.
Mm-hmm.
It was Savage tried to end Steamboat's career with the bell on the neck. George Emil Steele's infatuation with Elizabeth.
It causes distraction during the match too from the beginning.
And that super long title reign. Like Savage tried to cheat his way to that title for so long, and he finally gets it. And then he gets this year-long title. There was 100% a lot going on in that match and in that story to make it fantastic. I can watch that match and not get bored. I can watch that match every single day and enjoy it. I just don't think, and that's a me personally, it's just not the greatest match that everyone says it is.
Mm-hmm.
But I can understand, like I said, I can understand why a wrestler would say that it is, because back then, the way that the story was told, the way that they flowed in the ring, the pinfall kick out, the way that they rolled, the way that they moved, they were so fluid. To say like Bruce Lee, those two in the ring were like water.
Yeah,
they really were.
I don't think we see or we have seen a match like this in quite a long time. I think we're accustomed to this new bang, 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 bang. These guys.
That's very true.
I think these guys set a what at the time was a fast pace, but to us right now is a medium pace, but with no lulls. Their lull spots, they picked it up to what we're used to nowadays in a whole regular match. And what we're used to now in a whole regular match is their fastest pace plus a ton of high flying spots now. And a ton of their finishers are being used as fucking setup now. Like no one uses the elbow drop as a finisher anymore.
And you
besides
know what else?
Like Io Shirai.
You know what else? I will say about this match is that it wasn't. You know how you like nowadays you kind of get like within the first 2 minutes of a match, there's like a pinfall within the first 5 minutes, maybe like 2 quick roll up attempts kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
These guys didn't do a shitload of actual attempts early on. Like there was more of that storytelling trying to break the guy down before they started to really get going. Like they're like you said, like there's something to be said about, and people laugh about wrestling back then because arm falls 1, arm falls 2, he keeps his arm up. But I miss that in today's wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
I miss those sleeper holds. I miss those body stretches. I miss those half Boston crabs that were used to kind of draw the match out and weaken a guy, but also let the guys kind of catch their breath and tell the story. Like, he's hurt. Can he get the submission? No, he's gonna have to give up and go for something else.
You know what this match? Do you know what this match really pointed out to me?
What's that?
What all the legends say is missing in today's game.
The drawn out.
The selling. They don't draw out the selling. There's no selling.
Yeah, I will give this match that. That's a very good point.
Like, and I think that's why it was such a medium pace, because you'll have them exchanging arm drag, but then you'll have Macho land the big move and Ricky sells it, or you'll have Macho run out to the outside and Ricky gives chase. And Macho takes advantage.
It's just like they both go like shot, but then that one that he stomps his foot that little bit harder and just puts that little bit more behind that punch, and the guy drops and he sells it. Like the punches going back and forth weren't crazy, but that last one, that was the big one.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the one where, and then the heel or face kind of like the heel will like raise his hand, be like, oh, like I'm better than your face, and the face raises his hand to say, come on, like let's go, like let's get this crowd going, right?
And I think who was it, Gorilla Monsoon on commentary that kept on mentioning the fact that Macho Man cheated to get the fucking title.
Yeah,
he keeps on pointing out the fact
they definitely, they
we have a
definitely
baby face, we have a heel.
They definitely pointed out that he was the heel,
Mm-hmm.
and then he had used he cheated to win, and they mentioned it obviously a lot more when he grabbed the ring bell to try to go after the larynx again.
Mm-hmm.
I think they said, was it the larynx?
Yeah, I think so. I think they were saying it's esophagus or something
Esophagus.
like
Yeah, when he grabbed the bell near the end, to go after Steamboat, they really sold the fact that that's what he did the first time round.
Yeah. Even at one point, Macho Man was content with just leaving Steamboat out in the crowd while the ref was out. I think this is when he goes for the bell, because the ref is out, he goes for the bell. But George the Animal Steel picks up Steamboat and brings it back in, so they can't. No, the ref's counting. No, is he? No. Fuck. Who's the other commentator? Jesse the Body Ventura.
Jesse Ventura.
He's like, why isn't the ref counting right now?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, the ref should be counting. Why is?
Well,
and George the Animal Steel's cheating.
Last time I was here, when Jeff joined us for Survivor Series 90, I mean, Christ, Steamboat probably would have been counted for being in the ring. Fast forward 3 years and countouts and shit were a lot different.
Yeah. Let's see. Where was I? There's 19 two counts in this match. So they're exchanging. They're back and forth. We don't. It's not one of those matches.
I gotta believe that's a record at that point in time too.
It had to have been.
Like because people bitch and complain now about the number of two counts, which makes me feel like there's no way that there was more than like 3 or 4 back then.
Let's see.
And the one thing that actually we should point out too, Macho Man scripted move by move every one of his matches.
Yeah, I think if I remember right, Macho had written down this entire match and went over it with Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, and it was pages and pages.
Macho would give people, depending on the match, 20, 30 pages and say, here's your script for tonight. I mean, now mind you, when you're doing a program with a guy, you're going city to city, town to town. You could do a Raw, a Nitro, or just house show, doesn't matter. But you're doing the same basic thing every night, so you eventually get it down pat. But you're getting handed a fucking script by a guy and be like, hey, tonight we're doing this. That first night's gonna be fucking pretty rough, right?
Mm-hmm.
And WrestleMania, you're not doing the same thing that you did in fucking, Des Moines, Iowa, that you're doing at WrestleMania 3. So Steamboat walked in not knowing what that match was going to be. Like, he may have known the outcome, but he didn't know the script that Macho was going to be handing him that night. So that kind of does add a little bit extra to the legendary status of this match.
Yeah. We have Macho Man hit his awesome double axe handles that they were really sold well, or were used as a transitional move to kind of set up his victory or his eventual, looks like he's going to win as a heel but loses. He hits him on Ricky even on the outside. Eventually Ricky recovers and he hits like a martial arts one of his own off the top rope. And,
yep.
and I only mention this because we get a 3 count, but Macho's leg is on the rope and the crowd, it sells. When the 3 hits, they all cheer, and the ref's like, no, it was only a 2. They're like, oh, you can hear it throughout the crowd. I don't know if that was put in afterward. It seemed like that was the real crowd reaction, but that was a perfect spot too. Like, they hit the crowd with the pop for it,
Yep.
Ricky won, psych, and they had one of those moments in it as well. So that kind of adds to the match, the crowd reaction and the crowd being into it so much. Yeah, so I talked about the 19-2 counts. Ricky accidentally takes out the ref. Macho Man hits his elbow off the top rope, but the ref is out, so he can't get the 3 count on Ricky. Then this is when Macho Man goes for the bell. George the Animal Steel takes the bell as Macho Man is on the top rope.
Fucking interference should have been a DQ right there.
Macho Man jumps onto the apron, kicks him in the head, takes the bell back, but then Steel pushes Macho Man before he goes for it again. Goes for it for this, I guess, for the first time because he couldn't prior. And Macho Man hits the floor, and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat gets the 3 count because I didn't really see it, but the commentators try to sell it as Macho Man hitting his head on the bell on the way down, or when he hit the floor.
And the thing too, I like too, is roll up. Schoolboy roll up in the middle of the ring.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing fancy. Just the like maybe your first week of learning simple moves in wrestling school. Schoolboy roll up. Boom, done.
It's like your jab, bro. You gotta perfect it.
Small package. Sorry, small package. Yeah. My bad. I misspoke there.
I could see why at that time it was the greatest match that people had seen, especially at such a wide audience. That's not to say it's the greatest match today. Like I said, people built off that match.
And that's the thing too. Yeah, I think that's why it not bothers me, but when people say, "Oh, Steamboat and Savage is the be all end all," it's such a great match. It's the greatest of all time. I'm like, I've seen better. Mm-hmm. I'm not trying to take away from that match, but to me, it's not what everyone keeps hyping it up to be. And that's nothing against the match. It's just then maybe 100%. I was fucking 2 years old when that match happened, so I can't say then that it was the best or not the best. But watching that match and then seeing other things, like I've seen a lot better. Like, and that's nothing against those two guys. Like I said, Savage is in my top 3, but I just think that there's better matches out there.
Yeah, by this time already, we're in 2020. This was, what was that, 80, 86?
33 years
85?
ago.
85, yeah.
Yeah, 33, 87, 33 years ago. Mm-hmm. Be 34 next March. A lot of matches have happened in those 34 years.
Yeah. After that loss, Macho Man goes on to feud with the Honky Tonk Man. I think after Honky Tonk Man declares himself the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time.
Because he quickly wins it right back from, or he quickly wins it off of Steamboat.
Because his wife wants him to stop wrestling or something like that, or move back or something. So Steamboat drops it right away, and then they put on Honky Tonk Man. And on October 3rd, Honky Tonk Man pushes Liz away after she tries to stop.
And, quickly, before we get, like, I don't know if we're going to touch on any Macho Man supposed to win the title off of him and blah, 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 blah.
No, go ahead.
No, go listen to the Honky Tonk Man, Bruce Pritchard, because everything that people talk about, $1 Million Man is supposed to be the champion, and Honky Tonk is supposed to drop the title to Savage. At WrestleMania 3, they had already decided that Savage was going to take the title at WrestleMania 4. That's from Bruce Pritchard. So if we briefly touch on anything about a match between these guys and who's supposed to win a title, Bruce Pritchard has shot down every conspiracy that there was no truth behind that, and that what played out was supposed to play out. So that is out there from one of the head guys in WWF at the time. So there is that. So
yeah.
Sorry to cut you off. So we can So
no, October 3rd, I believe it was a match for the Intercontinental Championship. The Hart Foundation comes in to interfere, and because Honky Tonk Man is managed by Jimmy Hart is managing the Hart Foundation. At that time, you had a lot more intermingling of management clients with other clients.
A weird stable also, by the way. Jimmy Hart had a weird stable that was never pointed out, like the Heenan family.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy Hart had a ton of guys, but there was never like a Hart stable ever. There was never a Hart Foundation.
Just the Hart Foundation?
Just there's no Hart Foundation, just the Hart Foundation.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, so Bret and Neidhart are holding Macho Man after they interfere. Macho Man can't regain his championship. Honky Tonk Man is gonna hit him with the guitar. Liz comes out. She stands in front of Honky Tonk Man. Honky Tonk Man actually pushes her down. And they hit Macho Man, right? And then Hogan comes out. And we get the formation of the Mega Powers.
Yeah, the formation of Mega Powers. It'll start around here, because we're getting right into no, that's a year later. That's 88.
Oh shit! Is my timeline wrong?
Yeah, I don't know if it's wrong, but I feel like
no, I don't think they have a match for like a whole year because I think Hogan leaves for a while, but I think this is the formation of them.
Maybe he comes out, but I feel like because it was SummerSlam 88 when they are, because Macho Man's the champion when the Mega Powers form, because they did that handshake, right? That handshake was Macho Man was already the champion.
You might be right. You might be right. My timeline might be off.
I'm trying to remember now, because I know that for sure Macho Man takes the guitar shot. Hogan may come out for the save, but I don't know if the
Liz ran back to the locker room after she got pushed down and brought Hogan out to save Savage.
And then, you know what? That makes sense because Hogan does help him at 4 win the title.
Mm-hmm. No, the reason it's like this is because I think Hogan, they don't do anything for a while. I don't think the Mega Powers do anything till the next year.
Save. Okay, so Hogan comes over for the save, but there's no true formation of the Mega Powers. They're kind of like laying the groundwork for like 6 months, 9 months later kind of deal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because Savage leads a team against Honky Tonk team at Survivor Series, where Savage team beat them, avenging Liz. And then he continued to feud with Honky Tonk Man. And then I think this is where Andre the Giant, February 5th, 1988, the main event won. Is that where Hogan dropped the title to Andre? Hogan
drops it at Saturday Night Main Event. I don't know the number.
I think it's main event 1.
He drops it. He drops it at Saturday Night's Main Event for sure. But you could be. It might be 1.
Okay. And so now we have a vacant championship, and now we have the opportunity for Savage to be crowned as champion. At WrestleMania, was it 5? 4th?
4.
Okay, WrestleMania 4. Macho Man is in a 14-man tournament for the World Heavyweight Championship because Hogan is off filming a movie, I'm pretty sure. Or
he... So, I'm trying to think of what movie it wouldn't have been...
the Army one, isn't it?
Suburban Commando?
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe this time.
I think that was his first movie, wasn't it?
No Holds Barred was a couple years later. I think Rocky 3 was before that. Rocky 3 was before he was the WWF champion.
Damn, so this could have been Rocky 3?
I think Rocky 3 was 83 or 84, though. I think that was... Because Mr. T was because of... Mr. T was WrestleMania because of Rocky 3. I think that's where Hogan and Mr. T joined forces kind of thing.
Okay.
So I think Suburban Commando would have been around this time, maybe.
Makes sense. One of his first movies. Savage gets the championship.
Hogan helps him out. And that WrestleMania 4, the one thing that people should take notice of, which I think this sets Savage out from everyone. Every match, different outfit for him and for Liz.
You got to, bro. You got
different cape, different trunks, different everything. Like that's Think about every King of the Ring. Think about every tournament style matchup that they've ever done in WWF. Guys don't just change costume every single match. But Macho, 4 matches one night, 4 costumes one night.
Mm-hmm.
That's unprecedented, man.
Yeah, and the 4 costumes were against Butch Reed was his first opponent, Greg the Hammer Valentine, second opponent, and One Man Gang, leading to the finals against the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase.
Yeah. And Ted DiBiase had also had like that bye because of the Hogan Andre count out and stuff like that. So he was the fresher man.
Did Hogan come out and like congratulate Macho at the end?
Hits him with a chair. $1 Million Man had him in the the $1 Million Dream. He had him with the chair when the ref was distracted or knocked out, and then Macho hit him with the elbow drop to get the 1, 2, 3.
So actually, at the first SummerSlam is when the Mega Powers take on the Mega Bucks.
Yeah, and
Ted DiBiase, IRS.
Yeah, Andre,
sorry.
And Miss Elizabeth shocks the world
with the teeny weeny polka dot bikini.
Ooh yeah,
with no polka dots anywhere, but
yeah.
So she takes off her bottom.
Itty bitty teeny weeny red and yellow bikini.
I actually I guess that's the Miss Elizabeth I have.
I almost bought that yesterday for Carla for Christmas, but I didn't want to get murdered by my ex, so.
I don't know if the skirt comes off.
The last thing I needed was for Carla to go home on Christmas Day and be like, "Look what Daddy got me. Her name is Miss Elizabeth." Next thing I know, we got phone calls and gunshots. Had it in my hand. I'm like, you know what? Not worth it.
You're horrible, Ryan.
Oh, I try my best.
Let's see. Early '89 is when the problems start to develop with Hogan and Macho Man because after they win.
Go
ahead.
We skipped one. We skipped the Bret Hart '87.
Oh shit. Yeah. Sorry. Let's go back to that.
The Saturday Night Main Event: Bret Hart and Macho Man.
Okay. Yeah. So on October 3rd, we'll go back a little bit. October 3rd is when Honky Tonk pushes Liz down, and this will lead us into the match that we picked. We didn't pick Honky Tonk Man versus. We picked Macho Man versus Honky Tonk Man. So Macho Man is going to face Bret because Bret was holding him during that altercation. Him and Anvil.
And this is a weird one too because a lot of people think this was Bret's coming out party. This is where Vince started seeing Bret as being a star on his own, but it still took 3 years before we talked about it with Jeff at Survivor Series 90. 3 years later, before Bret got another real big push with the $1 Million Man. So he still did a lot of tag action after this match, but I think that this was I picked this one because this is, like I said, 2 of my favorites, and I have a few Stone Cold Bret matches that I can watch. I don't have really any Stone Cold Macho matches to watch, and I have very few Bret and Macho Man matches to see. So I'll take whatever I can get with these guys, right?
Yeah.
And so I picked this one because it's a brilliant story.
Yeah.
This whole everything, not just the match, but we talked about the guitar shot, the Hart Foundation, Jimmy Hart, Honky Tonk Man, Macho Man, that whole angle. But this match was great. And I think Bret and Macho, they put on a clinic of how to tell a good story.
With Bret, I think there's a lot more story. Not that that's a bad thing. I think Bret knows how to tell a good story within the ring and intertwine it within a good match, as opposed to where other guys put on a good match that tells a good story. And I guess we'll get into it as we talk.
That's a very good point. Yeah.
So the story of this whole match was he was going to work on Macho Man's foot. At one point, they're going back and forth, but at one point, Brett tosses Macho Man outside, and when he hits outside, he fucks up his knee. So now we have the focus of the leg slash ankle.
And yo, can we see this a lot in Macho Man's career? I don't know if there's a better wrestler that can fight on one leg.
Mm-hmm.
Macho did this weird hop thing with the way that he could swing a punch on one leg. You thought he was legit hurt.
Yeah.
And you see this in 1987 and you see this in 1997. Like he did this late in his career he had knee braces because he had some surgeries and shit. But he legit could sell. Like you would think he was actually hurt.
Yeah.
To the point where Elizabeth had to take off his boot.
Yeah, she goes outside, takes off the boot. I didn't even think they were going to go that far, but she's like loosening up the laces. Brett goes to attack her, but the ref's like, "Hey, step back," and they get the boot off of her, or off of him, sorry. And then the match continues, and at this point, Brett just focuses on the foot. He's punching the foot, slamming the foot against against the pole.
The half Boston Crab.
Yep, he's stomping his butt on the foot itself.
What about the pile driver spot?
Mm-hmm.
How beautiful was that pile driver that Brett gives to Macho in this match, man? That was I understand why the pile drivers are a banned move unless Vince okays it for a superstar to use. Brett, the way that Macho's body was limp as Brett dropped and Macho flopped over, man, that was a picture perfect pile driver, man.
You know what's crazy? Because doing this podcast with you, since you're a big Brett fan, we covered a lot of Bret Hart matches, and now going back and like just stepping away from Brett and coming back to Brett, because we've done a couple non-Brett ones and like just different shows and watch-alongs. You kind of can tell how he comes at matches and how he puts together his matches with a little bit more of a storyline base. He's like, I know what I'm doing inside the ring. I know, and sometimes it gets a little bit robotic in the sense of I'm gonna do this setup.
Right.
And then when you add a good storyline to it, it takes it over the top.
And this is what I think is like. I think the reason why I put Brett over Flair and Hogan is because even though Bret Hart did the same that Flair and Hogan did, and it's the same match over and over again, Bret would constantly sub things in and out. Flair was A to B, B to C, C to D, D to E, E to F. Bret was like A to B, B to D, D to C, C to F, F to G, G to E. Like he would do the same thing, but he would switch it up a little bit here and there. And he would also occasionally throw in Q, would throw in R. And when you mix that kind of a storytelling with Macho Man, who would lay out a match start to finish, this is the match. Can you imagine Prime Brett and Prime Macho going at it for the title? Ooh,
dude! Like,
God, man.
And going back, like
a main event,
like you just mentioned how Flair sets up his matches and how Brett would set up his matches, and it kind of gives me more of an understanding of why there was a unspoken hatred between Flair and Brett. I think more Flair towards Brett.
Yeah, because Brett kind of switched up the chemistry that Flair didn't want to deviate from.
And expanded on it. Expanded on Flair's match setup and execution on stuff, but made it more entertaining in a sense of I'm not just going to play the heel. I can play the face, I can play the heel, and I can put on an interesting match because you showed me one way of doing it, and I'm going to take it and maybe use it every match, but that's not the only thing I'm going to do with it. Like, I'm going to add my flair to it, and I'm going to add offense to it where I get my licks in too. Not just pokes to the eyes, not just the nut shots, not just holds. He was getting his slams and his good power moves and his crowd-friendly moves to win over the crowd a lot more. And also, maybe that hatred was there because of that.
And people talk about Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart being the revolutionary force behind the post-steroid WWF. And I'm not going to say anything about Macho Man because I don't know the whole thing, but Macho was definitely not as big as as Hogan and as Warrior. And I don't think Macho Man gets and I mentioned this before about the credit as a top tier guy. I think that Macho Man kind of falls to that second tier a lot of times. I don't think Macho gets the credit as being like the revolutionary guy for the smaller champion. Because how many champions used a top rope finisher before Macho Man, really?
Yeah. Well,
You know what I mean?
Randy's 6'2", 237. Hogan was 6'7",
320?
Yeah, and like people nowadays talk shit. Like I've heard Brandon Schaub talk shit. I've heard Brian Callen. They're like, oh, I've met him. He's definitely 6'3". Hogan has had his fucking discs removed from his back.
He's had
He's fucked.
The leg drop has fucked his back up.
Mm-hmm.
Hogan has literally shrunk because of leg drops.
And they mentioned it too. Brian and Brendan. They mentioned how he has super long arms though, because they were equivalent to how tall he was.
Exactly, yeah.
But he's had to have surgeries and he's had such a fucked up back because of the leg drops that now he's 6'3". But you go back and, well, I went back in one of the matches that we saw and he is gigantic compared to a 6'2", 237 Macho Man.
Well, I mean, let's go back. Like they say, there's no way he's actually 6'7". Mm-hmm. Let's go back and look at the NWO formation with Nash, Hogan, and Hall in 1996 sitting side by side. You're going to tell me that a 7 foot tall Nash is Nash 7'1"? You're going to tell me that he's 8 inches taller than Hogan in that picture, right?
Yeah.
I hate to tell you that there's no lifts in those boots. But no, I mean, like Macho Man was big, but he wasn't. But Hogan. How many times did you see Hogan hit the top rope and Ultimate Warrior hit the top rope, right? Like Macho Man kind of set the bar for a Rick Rude title reign, if you think about it that way.
Yeah. No, and there was some moves that he would like the double axe handle. He would do it all the way to the outside. He would leap from inside the ring to the outside, stuff that not even dudes now do nowadays. Is just to escape to like get faster access to outside. There was stuff that he was doing that not everyone was doing for, and it's like he's 6'2", 237. He's kind of big, but he was kind of dwarfed because McMahon wanted giants, literal giants.
That's it. He wanted the fucking. He fucking started the fucking World Bodybuilding Federation, for God's sakes. Like,
but it's matches like this, like Macho Man and Bret Hart,
it shows you
why don't need giants.
Why and that's the thing. Like, why is Seth Rollins a fucking WWF champion? Because of Macho Man, because of Bret Hart, because of Shawn Michaels, not because of Hogan. It's because eventually the smaller guy can hold the title. Look at Eddie.
And maybe, well, I was about to say, maybe this is a stretch. You took it right out of my fucking mouth, Ryan. In a way, Eddie Guerrero is a Mexican version of a Macho Man, a smaller guy that can really, really wrestle and has a ton of charisma and can work the mic.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And he could work with a manager too.
Yeah, that's it, right? Like, I mean,
because Macho
Man
paved the way for guys like that.
He did, yeah, and
for Bret himself, for Bret in this match.
The narrative is always Bret and Shawn changed how big a champion had to be. But I told you earlier today that I went down a Macho Man rabbit hole, and the matches that I saw Macho Man in, his Intercontinental title run, he went up against the guys his size. His WWF title run, he went up against guys a lot bigger than him.
Mm-hmm.
And that shows me that this goes back to what I said, man. He doesn't get the respect he deserves as a top 3 guy.
I think he defended against Andre the Giant, One Man Gang, and Big Boss Man.
Yep.
All giants.
And he did defend against Hogan at WrestleMania 5 where he lost, but he did go up against Hogan. Like and let's be real, like Hogan was never going to lose WrestleMania. So, but
And at that point, it was a business decision. We all knew Hogan was
yeah,
the drawer. Even the owner of the company is going to be like, we want the more money option. We're going with Hogan. Sorry. Maybe later. Maybe we'll hit you back later. But back to the match.
yeah.
Um, yeah. So Macho Man gets tossed over the ropes and he's selling the foot. Brett's attacking the foot. Let's see. And then Brett starts. He starts getting good offense in, not just attacking the leg, but he starts getting his slams in. Let's see. Brett goes to slam Macho Man, and he just rolls up Brett, if I remember right.
He suplex inside the ring. Macho Man's on the apron. Brett tries to suplex him in, and Macho Man rolled over.
Okay.
And cradles him.
Yeah, he just got like a 1, 2, 3 roll up, right?
And it's kind of like, and it's funny when I watched that finish, it reminded me of the $1 Million Man, when Brett did that splash kind of move, and $1 Million Man rolled over and pinned Brett.
Yeah.
It was a very simple finish where Brett's momentum or a Brett move resulted in him losing. Which I wonder if that was again the storytelling of a tag team wrestler naivety in a singles competition, storytelling wise.
Let's see. Anything else on that match, Ryan? Before we move
on? No, I just think this was a very good
thing you pointed it out, man. I totally skipped it.
Yeah, no, this match, I don't know, like I just have too many positive things. All I can, you know what? Any listeners out there, if you have not seen this match, just go please watch this match, because I don't think that I'm giving it the proper due. Like, people need to sit down and actually watch this match and appreciate the fact that Macho Man's not a champion, Brett's not a champion, and yet they put on a championship level match.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not WWF championship, maybe an IC title match, but still, like, there could be a title on the line in this match, and I would buy the fuck out of that pay-per-view.
If I told you Bret Hart and Macho Man face each other, you would think it was for the Intercontinental Championship. You would assume.
And if you told me it's for the heavyweight title,
mm-hmm.
I would say it's WCW.
Well, I think it happened for the WWF title, but I think it was in
did they go in
Europe?
WWF?
I think it was in Europe, and I think Macho Man retained it by like count out or something, or Bret got counted out or something. I'm trying
to remember Macho's title reign, because Macho wins it at 8.
Against Flair, yeah.
God, I'm drawing a blank if.
You know what? Bret and Macho went at him in Europe.
Bret was Intercontinental title. Bret was the Intercontinental champion at WrestleMania 8. Because in '92, Macho's champion at SummerSlam and Bret's champion at SummerSlam.
Let's see if I can find it.
I'm trying to think of that title reign of where. Because WrestleMania 8, was that Piper losing to Bret at WrestleMania 8?
I'm not sure.
And Savage, well, I don't want to spoil one of your matches there.
I'm pretty sure.
Bret
was heavyweight champion, and Macho Man challenged him for it. Didn't win though.
Bret was the champion?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're looking 92, 93 then. After Flair's gone.
Yeah.
That could have happened in like late 92, early 93 before Bret dropped it to Yoko. That's a possibility. Because when Macho comes back after his retirement match, he rolls into Jake the Snake, and then he rolls into the Flair angle, and then he quietly kind of rides out into WCW by 94. and 94 was when Brett really took off. So it would have had to be late 92, early 93.
Yeah. Well, nonetheless, they had a great match with no title on the line, and it was a setup to a bigger feud.
Fantastic match.
All right, back to where we were at. The first SummerSlam, Mega Powers versus Mega Bucks, Eenie Weenie Tiny Polka Dot Bikini. And then early '89 is when the problems develop between Hogan because he starts wondering what's going on with Hogan and Miss Elizabeth, and this goes on for like a year.
Yeah, like the Mega Power started SummerSlam, and it's a good 6 to 8 month run of the back and forth, and then Elizabeth gets hurt. And
at a Royal Rumble, Hogan eliminates Macho Man, and Macho Man's pissed. But
Macho Man's champion, right?
What happened?
And Macho Man's the champion at that point too.
In the Royal Rumble?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. He was champion for a while.
He was movable. He went at 4.
Yeah, he was
champion. He wins at 4 and loses at 5.
Yeah, he was champion because after they beat the Mega Bucks in the back, he hits Hogan in the back or in the head with the championship because I think that's where it started because of the whole Elizabeth thing where he's carrying her on the shoulder and he's got his hand on her butt or something.
Yeah, so there's that.
So he hits him with the title in the back.
Who was it? Was it Big Boss Man that knocked Elizabeth down off the apron?
One Man Gang.
And then so she's in the back room, and that's where the whole shit breaks loose with that dude.
Oh yeah, because he carried her. Yeah, he carries her to the back.
He carries her to the back, saying, "Oh my god!"
That's where he hits him. Yeah, because they're in the back.
When he hits him and like Hogan falls into like for the audio listeners only, I'm putting quotation marks up. He hits him into like the medical equipment. I'm 35 years old, and I still think, what if there was needles on that tray? Clearly, obviously, they're not going to do that. But when he falls into that, my first thought was like, I still get the heebie-jeebies when Hogan drops in and you see like all that medical shit go flying. I'm like, there's needles and syringes, or there's needles and scalpels and scissors. Like, good God. Like, obviously, they're not there, Ryan. Like, come on, don't be an idiot. But they made it feel like it was a legit operating room, even though it's the fucking garage. Like, there's no hospital, anything about that room.
Mm-hmm. So he hits him with the title, and they continue on because, there is reasonable doubt there. He's like, what the hell, man? What the hell are you doing with my chick? This will lead up to a feud between... Well, they're going to break up the Mega Bucks. Or the Mega Powers.
The Mega Powers explode. Yeah. WrestleMania 5.
Yeah, the Mega Powers explode at WrestleMania 5 because... Oh, yeah, I'm not having this, yeah! Macho Man has had enough of Hogan trying to get his woman.
Spoiler alert, Hogan got a pose. It's the one thing that really pisses me off about Hogan, man, is the fact that Brett, Flair, Macho Man, Rick Rude, God damn it, if it wasn't for one to film a movie, the Warrior wouldn't have got over him.
Yeah.
But how much better, like, wrestling in the late 80s, early 90s was so great, but fuck, how much better it could have been if Hogan took a couple of pinfalls at WrestleMania once in a blue moon. Like, Triple H took a pinfall, John Cena took a pinfall, Undertaker took a fucking pinfall. Like, if Hogan had just taken a pinfall or two, man, how much better some storylines could have been.
So, this is, let's see. I guess we'll get into this match. The Mega Powers break up April 2nd, 1989. It starts off with a test of powers, and fucking, you can tell the size difference right away. Macho Man gets flung back.
Yeah.
And after a little bit of offense from Hogan, Macho Man starts leading the way, and he's taking over the match. And it's funny because this match is only good because of Macho Man. Hogan doesn't know how to set up the match. He doesn't know what to do in the match.
Well,
I've never seen Hogan have a match like this. He like right away he gets Macho in a headlock, like on the floor, like
yeah.
a wrestling move, like a wrestling move. And then ultimately Macho Man, he just uses his speed, his agility, his wrestling moves to break down.
Well, this goes back to my point about, and I don't want to go, I don't want to backtrack, but this goes back to what I was saying about Brett compared to Hogan and Hogan and Flair, and how he could deviate and how he could tell the same story 100 different ways. This match, I agree with you. Like, I thought the exact same thing. I'm like I remember watching Hogan and Warrior and just thinking like, wow, this is horseshit. And I remember watching Hogan and Andre the Giant and thinking, this is horse. Don't get me wrong, not horseshit. Great. I love those matches. They're horseshit. You put Macho Man against Hogan, and all of a sudden Hogan looks good.
Mm-hmm.
And that tells me that clearly Macho Man is better than these other guys.
Yeah, no, and like Macho Man is beating up Hogan for a little bit after they both exchange a little bit of offense. Macho Man takes over. He's beating up Hogan. He hits the elbow on Hogan, and then we get the fucking Hulk up. Hogan starts hulking up.
And Hogan got color.
Yeah, he started bleeding. Macho Man.
Great. Not great, but
yeah. Macho Man even like thumbs at it to try to open it up a little bit more. Hogan kicks out, hulks up, hits a leg drop, or hits a big boot, hits a leg drop, 1, 2, 3. Ridiculous how he takes the title.
Yeah. It's Hogan, man. I get
Hogan, and then Hogan poses for like 5 minutes at the end.
Yeah.
Hogan must pose, baby.
Fuck, man. And you know what's funny is that I always think about Hogan must pose now when I watch wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
WrestleMania 4 is the first time that he's not in the main event, and he fucking still poses. Like,
you gots to, bro.
WrestleMania 6, he loses the title, he still fucking poses. God damn, Hogan always fucking poses, man. Like, god damn.
And this will lead to the feud with Zeus. Or no, he'll tag with Zeus.
He'll tag with yeah, because now coming up, yeah.
Against Hogan.
R.I.P.
Yeah, R.I.P. I think that's why I wrote it down. He'll
Tiny Lister last
Debo.
Wednesday, Thursday. Debo passed away, 64 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So R.I.P. to Zeus.
Yeah. So September 1989, Macho Man becomes the Macho King by defeating Jim. At that time, the King Duggan.
Fucking Hacksaw King Duggan. God damn it. How was that a thing? Can you imagine he comes with a little crown on the 2x4?
Dude, you know what I want so bad? I want the foam 2x4 so bad. I wish they still made it. I don't know if they still make them.
You can probably find it somewhere, I'm sure.
Yeah. So I guess at this time, Hogan's coming back to be champion. It's 89. And Macho Man becomes Macho King by beating Duggan, and they kind of have to give him something to do by not putting the title on him. So they give him a scepter. He gets a custom crown. I think the scepter was given to him by Ted DiBiase. And he becomes the Macho King, and he goes on to feud with different people, even getting knocked out by Buster Douglas. After he
that's right. Yeah, he was and at
the main event 3.
Yeah, there was something to wrestle with. We talked about it. That was supposed to be Mike Tyson.
Yes,
but he lost. Tyson lost. They called in Douglas. Yeah.
Mike Tyson
and fucking Macho Man took that punch legit.
Mm-hmm.
They said, he's like, I want you to hit me. He's like, I don't want to hurt you. He's like, listen, I don't want to fake sell. Like, I want you to make it look as real as you can. I want you to hit me and I'll fall.
And he didn't, so Macho Man slapped him.
Yeah.
And then this guy punched him. He's like, all right, cool.
Like, God, fuck, what? Like, yeah, you're going to try and tell me that Macho Man's not a fucking Macho Man.
And Macho Man told him, too. He's like, you hit me or else I'm going to come back at you and I'm going to hit you. I'm going to get in your face. I'm going to make you look weak.
He fucking did.
Yeah.
He fucking man of his word.
Yeah. I guess they dropped the Macho King, or not the Macho. They continue with the Macho King, but they dropped the King of the Ring thing for a while. We won't get it back to like 91, I think, right?
90. Brett wins it in 91 and 93.
Okay.
Brett's the only back-to-back winner.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there was a year gap. So I think you're right. I think it's 91, 93.
Yeah. They drop it for like 2 years for some reason.
Just because.
Yeah. Or and Macho Man just keeps the moniker for his feuds going on.
And it's an off and on thing.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I feel like he was like, I feel like he used it and then he didn't, and then he would use it and then he wouldn't, kind of thing. I feel like after a while they just kind of just dropped it, but then they'd bring it back here and there for like a random show.
So he's Macho King here in Royal Rumble 91. I have that action figure. He hits Warrior with the scepter. The light, I think at this time, I don't know, before this or at this time, is the spotlight is he hits Warrior with it.
Can I interject one quick thing?
Yeah.
We did skip one good WrestleMania match at WrestleMania 6, which was Macho Man and Sherry versus American Dream, baby, and
Dusty
Fire.
Rhodes. Yeah,
go back and check that out. It's a nice little intergender tag match, and I just want to point that out quickly that Macho Man actually in consecutive WrestleManias went Steamboat, $1 Million Man in the main event, Hogan, Dusty Rhodes, American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. Five was Hogan, then Dusty Rhodes, 7 Ultimate Warrior, then 8 was Ric Flair.
Mm-hmm.
What a fucking resume of fucking talent right there that Macho Man went up against at WrestleMania.
10 was crushed, bro. Don't forget.
And you know what? I'm not gonna lie. As shitty as the match that was, I don't care what anyone says about how crappy that WrestleMania 10 match was. I liked it. I did.
Don't make me fucking crush your head.
You know what? You know why I like that match? Is because I like that crush. I didn't like that orange crush. I like that silver and purple black crush when he was the heel. I got over with that crush. But I digress. It's a fucking badass Hulk.
Crush Hulk. Let's see.
So he cost Warrior the title against Slaughter. So we're gonna because Ultimate Warrior loses the title because of Savage giving Slaughter the title. WrestleMania had to move from LA to Indianapolis. Macho Man is the reason why the Terrorist won.
Don't put that on fucking Macho Man.
I'm sorry. No, that's just a joke, because if you're a wrestling fan, you would know the terroristic threats of Sergeant Slaughter and WrestleMania and the ticket sales and all that bullshit.
The very, very fake. Well, that's what a lot of people say, that there was not real, that there weren't real threats. That there
were some people who were pissed off, but there was no one gonna bomb the LA Coliseum because Sergeant Slaughter was the champion.
No, what happened was they didn't sell enough tickets to the place that they had booked, so they're like,
So they're like, shit. Well, because he's the champion, we have to move the title of the thing.
Hey, they're smart, dude. They came up with an excuse.
Hey, you know what? And you know what? Probably fucking sold a shit more pay-per-views. 100% it did.
Yep. So the feud with Warrior leads to the WrestleMania match at WrestleMania 7, the retirement match, where Liz comes out after Sherry beats up Macho Man because he loses, so he has to retire. So she's like, "Fuck you, Macho Man." I wanted to pick
this match so bad. I wanted to pick this match, but I think I chose the right Warrior Savage match. I think.
Yeah.
I think personally.
Yeah, and I don't want to choose it. I don't want to choose it because I don't want to choose losing matches, and I already chose Steamboat. Macho Man
and Hogan.
Yeah, and Hogan.
2 out of 3.
They were big moments, all right?
No, they were. Yeah. But this was a good one because this was the fucking reunion, baby.
Yeah.
And you know what's awesome is that this leads into a fantastic storyline run that we're going to get with Macho Man. Like, this is Macho Man now going up, like, this loss, like, a fantastic match. A great match. And this show, we just talked about with what Macho Man did for Hogan. Watch this match and see what Macho Man does for the Ultimate Warrior. Mr. 2 minutes, all of a sudden can go 20 minutes plus because Macho Man's in the ring with him. All right, like let's point that out. What Macho Man did for Ultimate Warrior's career, and what we're gonna get out of this is a fucking fantastic run with Undertaker, Jake the Snake Roberts, Ultimate Warrior, Ric Flair, Mr. Perfect. Like so many people are gonna start getting involved now.
So Hogan proposes to Elizabeth.
Or Macho Man.
Sorry. He proposes.
Hogan did that secretly. No.
Yeah, that's why they divorced later on.
Yeah.
He didn't really propose to her. She was just hanging out, and Macho Man was like, "What the fuck?
What are you doing with my wife down there, Hogan?"
Yeah. Hogan's like, "Nothing, brother."
This is me and Linda. She came here.
That bitch Linda ruined everything. So there's a gift at the wedding, and it's a cobra, and it's Jake the Snake. Jake the Snake sets out the cobra. Does he attack him here, or is it later on?
The Undertaker and Jake crash the party. It's not as, I don't know if it's as much as an attack as much as like trying to like scare her and like, oh my god, what the fuck's going on? But I will say,
this does lead to the.
Is it the worst? Is it that this is maybe like Shockmaster quality, because you can see the rope holding the snake's head up at some point. Like you can see the string holding up the fake snake, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's up there as being pretty corny.
Well, they had to use a live animal, so.
But the fact that it was a fake snake at that point.
Oh yeah, before.
In some of the shots, it was a fake snake, and you could see the fishing line holding the snake upright. I'm like, oh, ooh, they didn't edit that out. Like, you're a multi-million-dollar company, and you couldn't edit out a fishing line?
At this point, I don't know, 91.
Oh, fair enough. But I mean, trust me, that Cobra is going to make another appearance, and pretty fucking epic.
Yeah, soon after that, we have the appearance of the Cobra. Where do you know exactly when it happens? So Macho Man gets bit by the Cobra.
I don't know exactly the match, but was it a Jake and Macho Man match? No, you know what? Macho Man was retired.
Yeah.
At this point, because he's not an active wrestler. I want to say that. Okay, did Jake the Snake try to intimidate Miss Elizabeth, and Macho Man came out for the rescue, gets attacked, gets put into the ropes, and then what was the snake's name? Was it Lucifer?
It wasn't Damien.
Damien was a python, and I want to say Lucifer was a python, but was Lucifer the name of Jake the Snake's cobra?
I don't know.
I could be wrong on that. I don't remember the name of the Jake's cobra now.
Dude, the promos cut before and after the match were fucking awesome.
They were epic. Though, dude, you're talking Macho Man and Jake the Snake cutting promos. Mm-hmm. Two of the all-time best getting to cut promos on each other. Like, we don't deserve that.
Yeah, so...
that snake bite, too. The snake was defanged, which, hashtag PETA. I am against snake violence. I love snakes, but I understand why you can't have a wrestler being bit by a venomous animal on live TV. The snake did end up having to be put down. Macho Man did develop an infection, and he did get sick actually because of this, because of not venom, because of bacteria in the snake that entered his bloodstream, because the snake did gnaw down harder than it was supposed to, because it's a snake and didn't have fangs, so it didn't know how to act.
Yeah, it still had teeth though.
Yeah, and so it was just gnawing on his arm, and that's where he saw the blood and shit like that.
Defanged, devenomized, but it still had teeth. So,
but it still had But Macho Man actually had to go to the hospital and be treated for an infection because of that angle. Mm-hmm. But dude, I was 8 years old, and I still I have memories of sitting on my floor in the living room watching that happen to this day. I close my eyes and I remember seeing that. it's probably my favorite childhood wrestling moment was Jake the Snake attacking my. I had just moved to Windsor and I watched that happen, and I was just like, "The fuck is this?" And I was like sold.
Yeah, no, dude, it's fucking awesome because it's real. Like we don't know that it's defanged and devenomized. We just know it's a cobra, and
You just know that, yeah.
and he's recently changed it to a cobra, and it looks different than his other snakes. So he means business. He's fucking heel, and he's cutting this badass promo on Elizabeth because Liz was begging for Jake to stop and asking him to get the snake off, and pretty much
Oh, I was right.
Roberts makes it seem like he's getting off by the fact that Liz is begging him to stop.
Sorry, I was at Cobra.
Okay.
Sorry, I got really excited there.
No, so Jake sells it really well, dude. Like a fucking almost super perverted.
Oh, dude, when he's sitting in the corner holding the Cobra and just smiling at Macho Man.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, how fucking good was that?
Yeah.
And even the tights too, like everything about Jake, like Macho Man wearing like that neon hero color, and Jake wearing like those like fire and brimstone blue, yellow, orange colors, and laughing at Macho Man holding that Cobra. Like Macho Man swings, and Jake just like takes one step back. As Macho swings, Jake doesn't even do a lot. He just takes one step, and Macho Man just collapses in his swing. It was a fantastic angle, dude.
Yeah.
Like I'm putting that up there as maybe like one of the, like with Shawn Michaels, Mario Jannetty in the barbershop. Like
that's it's up there. It's up there, especially with the involvement of the snake and everything.
Hogan and Andre the Giant with the fake referee.
Mm-hmm.
That's got like that snake. That's a top 5 WWF moment, I think.
Yeah, because you have Liz playing her role perfectly. You have Jake playing over the top role, and then Macho Man too with the promo that he cuts after the fact. And
yeah, what does the average person know about King Cobras? It bites you, you die.
Mm-hmm.
And here's Jake the Snake having that animal bite Macho Man.
Yeah. So let's get through the match because I want to talk about the promo afters.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So because of this, Macho Man begs to be reinstated. Remove my retirement match clause against Warrior at WrestleMania this Tuesday in Texas. I want to fight Jake the Snake Roberts.
Mm-hmm.
And dude, first of all, that outfit, that feather on Macho Man's hat when he comes out, Macho Man was next level.
He attacks Jake the Snake right off the bat. He doesn't even get his outfit off. He's attacking Jake. Eventually, it takes his shit off. The match starts. Jake eventually starts attacking the snake bite, and that's eventually what gives him the upper hand, and he's working on the arm. Let's see. Yeah, pretty much that's the story of the match. He's working on the arm. At one point, he calls for the DDT. He's going to hit Savage with the DDT. Savage rams Jake against the ropes. Jake sells it to like his ribs are fucked up, falls on the floor. Macho Man hits the elbow drop. 1, 2, 3. Macho Man wins, but that's not the end. Like half of this match is after the fact. So it's not even part of the match. It's Jake beating the shit out of Macho Man. Hits him with the DDT 3 times. After the second DDT, he brings out the Cobra, and he's making Liz beg to stop.
Yeah.
It's fucking awesome. It's epic. Jake slaps Liz, sells it pretty well. I think he hit her. I don't know.
I think he did.
Yeah.
Knowing Elizabeth, she took that.
Yeah, she took that. And so we get to the back, and Jake cuts an incredible promo on how it felt to have that happen, and how he would want it to happen again. He wants Macho Man to beg him next time to have him stop to do what he was doing to Liz or whatever. And then we have Macho Man cut one of the most passionate promos I've ever seen him cut. Because of the hit, because of the Cobra, because of him losing, or no, he won and then getting
He
beat up.
won.
Yeah,
He won. So he won the battle but lost the war, kind of thing, right? Because
that's how
even
even
though he won the
confused me.
match, at the end of the match, he was humiliated, or not humiliated, but embarrassed by the fact that Jake got the upper hand still.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just with them and their acting, this puts it up there, and it's definitely an angle to go watch between these two guys.
And it's a shame. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love where WrestleMania 8 leads to, but it's a shame that we didn't get WrestleMania Jake versus Macho.
Yeah. Let's see. After this, my notes jumped to because he.
Well, this Tuesday in Texas is the precursor to the Royal Rumble, where Flair wins the title, which is the precursor to your next match.
Yeah.
Where Ric Flair all of a sudden has stolen Miss Elizabeth.
Yeah. So Flair's saying that he was first with Miss Elizabeth. He's got doctored pictures of Miss Elizabeth like feeding him strawberries.
And I love how fake those photos look too.
Yeah.
Like they don't look real. Like they don't. But this is like the National Enquirer, those magazines, the newspapers that you see at the checkouts at the grocery stores. This is pre-TMZ, so whenever you had fake news, it was always on those fucking like Bat Boy survives a fall from a plane. You're like, this is stupid shit, right? And those pictures you could tell were fake. Yeah. That's what we got.
But it led to a good storyline that was being told through those stupid pictures. We got a good story that, we got the jealous Macho Man. It's always a good thing to see. He's always passionate, and he wants to take out Flair. And, so like you mentioned, Flair had won it. This is what, 93? 92?
92, right? 92
yeah.
Royal Rumble.
Yeah, so he wins the Royal Rumble, and now we have this match where we mentioned earlier how Flair has his A, B, C, like A leads to B. Yeah. And we have his nut shot right to the eyes, his cheating moves to get over. Whenever Macho Man starts building up, he uses one of those to get the upper hand. And then towards the end of the match, we have the famous spot where he's on the top rope. He gets launched off the top rope, thrown on his back. He locks in the figure four. Mr. Perfect helps him with the leverage point. He gets flipped over, and the leverage gets flipped on him. And at one point, we have Miss Elizabeth coming out because she kind of was at the center of this whole thing with Flair, having her in doctor photos and shit like that. Sorry, my eye fucking itches.
And I loved also one thing I forgot to mention. I like the switch when Macho Man went from like the trunks to the full body outfit kind of thing, and how he started doing like these lime green, and then in that Jake the Snake he had like that like rusty orange and black, and then WrestleMania he's got the golden black. Like he started changing up his outfits a little bit, but they were shirts and pants. They weren't just the tight trunks that we were used to. Whereas a lot of guys we see, they start off with pants or full body gimmicks and they end up in the trunks. Macho Man went like the reverse of that.
Yeah. You got to sell somehow. Got to change the look somehow. Keep people interested. And Macho Man did that. With the hats, the crowns, the fucking do-rags, the bandanas.
Yeah, I forgot Macho Man with the do-rag. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Forgot about those.
It'll be later on, but I'll have a do-rag.
It's soon enough.
Yeah. That'll be for part 2, but he'll have a do-rag in part 2.
In part 2, are we going to talk about Jay Lethal?
We could a little bit, yeah. Black Machismo. And his little bit of a TNA run. So he beats Flair off of a roll-up and he gets the tights. There's a lot of interference from Mr. Perfect, and there's interference from Miss Elizabeth. Well, just her being a distraction. But he rolls up Flair and gets the tights, and that's how he gets the win. That's how he gets the championship.
And I love it that he rolled up the dirtiest player in the game with the tights.
Yeah.
Kind of like I like the irony of that. Like, I don't know how to word it. Like, he got revenge on the dirty guy by being dirty. That makes sense.
Kind of gave him a taste of his own medicine.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
This leads to, well, Macho Man getting the title, but this will lead to our next match. Not long after this, right?
This is SummerSlam, so this is 6 months later.
Oh shit!
5 months later. Well, we go after WrestleMania. They kind of start the So the only major thing is WrestleMania. He wins the title. Throughout the summer, he kind of has his little feuds, but the lead up into the SummerSlam is that Macho Man or the Ultimate Warrior, one of them has agreed to join forces with Ric Flair, Mr. Perfect, but we don't know which one. And Mr. Perfect and Ric Flair are teasing it leading up to the event that they have signed, and it's going to be made known that night. And in the title match, you're going to find out who it is. But they're not saying who it is. Macho Man thinks it's Warrior thinks it's Macho Man. These guys just want to have, like, they're both faces and they want to have just a legit match. But they both think the other one is going to turn heel. So it's kind of a fun little match that's being set up, right? And the one thing I want to point out with this match is I love SummerSlam 92 because of Wembley being an outdoor stadium. The fact that this match took place during sunset actually kind of gave us a really nice little atmosphere to the match. But yeah, Savage and Warrior are going to go at it for the title. Flair and Perfect come out midway through the match, and they kind of tease. Who's on commentary? Was it Heenan and was it Monsoon? Who was on commentary?
Was it McMahon?
God damn it! Who was on commentary for SummerSlam 92? I'm drawing a blank right now. They were throughout the whole match. Every time Flair or Perfect would do something, the commentators would be like, "Oh my God, he must be with." And then he would turn, "Oh my God, he must be with." And then like Flair would hit Warrior, but then they would say, "Oh, Macho Man's guy," and then Macho Man would like run to the rescue. So there was always the confusion still during the match. During minor interference, Warrior and Macho Man would still continue the confusion because instead of taking the advantage, they would go after Flair or Perfect, right? So like the mind games were always going. Like no one really knew what was happening.
Yeah. It was a little confusing,
and then eventually, Macho Man gets another knee injury, like we talked about with that Brett match, and that ends up being pretty much how it ended. It does end in the count out, and Warrior and Savage stand together, realizing that they were duped.
Okay, so yeah, they're getting involved back and forth, Mr. Perfect and Flair, and he realizes that they're the ones that fucked up Warrior, so he leaps out at Flair, but Flair hits him with a chair, which leads to the count out, and then they start fucking up his knee. And then Warrior chases off Flair and Mr. Perfect. And Warrior wins, but
yeah, so it was Heenan and McMahon. Sorry, you're right with McMahon.
Was it McMahon? Yeah, I remember McMahon because
For some reason, when I was hearing Gorilla Monsoon's voice in my head, and I knew that that wasn't right.
No, what you know? What I remember? I remember stupid McMahon being like this the whole time and talking like this and not stopping. Like he did not stop doing that the whole time.
I
I was
I
like,
love.
shut up, dude. Like I get doing it, but he would not stop. And I guess because
Oh
he was
yeah.
trying to sell the fact. Well, it was towards the end, I guess, whenever all the bullshit was
That
happening.
actually, I was just listening to Sidetrack Something to Wrestle With, WrestleMania 13, and Conrad had said, because WrestleMania 13 was the last Vince McMahon commentating
Hmm.
pay per view, and it's like, you would never. Oh my God, he's gonna go for the. Oh my God, that was so close, and what a maneuver that was.
Yeah.
And he's gonna. Oh my, and how his voice would just rise, 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 and then he would just instantly just drop right back to. It was just like pop down, pop down, pop down. It's like, so when you did that, I just got that weird flashback. But yeah, like you're right, 100%. Like I was just getting the. I think I have that weird gorilla Bobby the Brain tandem stuck in my head.
So that was the last match we were covering, right? Warrior, yeah, Warrior chases off Flair and Mr. Perfect.
Yeah, well, I mean, like pretty much after
It's
this,
not
it's gonna
much.
be no, like after this, it's gonna be Warrior and Macho Man form the was it the Mega Maniacs or the Macho Maniacs, and they're gonna have a Survivor Series match against Flair and Scott Hall, but then Warrior goes Warrior and ends up being Mr. Perfect turning face, and it's Flair and Scott Hall versus Macho Man and Mr. Perfect. That's going to lead you into Royal Rumble 1993, where Macho Man is the last man in the Royal Rumble to be eliminated by Yokozuna. He hits the
Hmm.
elbow drop, goes for the pin. No pins in a Royal Rumble. Yokozuna kicks out. The kick out launches Macho Man over the top rope. Macho Man, does he do commentary? Macho Man had I
Yeah, he was
found this.
commentary because
Yeah, he at WrestleMania 9 at Caesar's Palace.
he starts off Raw as well. He's one of the first
Yeah, and then
commentators.
he's one of the guys on Raw, and
He gets his hat
he want
stolen
he
by
want
IRS. One of
he
those.
want he wants to get back into the ring.
He does against
But Vince,
IRS. I forget against what event exactly, but he was trying to get back his hat.
yeah, and there were and but Vince wanted to move him into that role. There's the whole. I've heard I've heard a lot one way, and I've heard a lot the other way. Stephanie McMahon and him had relations. I'm not going to get into it because I don't know.
Hmm.
But that was a thing. Um, and but that was it. He went to Raw, was a commentator. Contract ran out. He went to WCW,
Yeah,
and that was the end of Macho Man's run.
yeah. He debuts in WCW December 4th, 1994,
Yep,
and that was the end of Macho Man in WWF.
yep.
Hmm.
Fantastic
Yeah,
run, and I don't dig it
one
because
of one of the greatest of all time. Top
and
three, my top three.
and you got to like, and and just this conversation that we just had right now, I just started thinking like, man, if we had some Mr. Perfect, Bret Hart, Rick Rude, Macho Man title matches in that mid 1993, 1994, 1995, even an early Shawn Michaels, those five guys, imagine that for the title. Whew.
It would have been insane, but he took off. They didn't want to. Well, depending on what it was, why he couldn't come to terms with Vince, either money or just
Well,
not. They
he
didn't want
wanted
him in
to.
ring.
From everything that I've heard, Macho Man wanted to wrestle, and Vince didn't want him to wrestle anymore. He wanted to move him into the commentary role,
Yeah.
kind of like he did with Taz.
Hmm.
That's all he wanted. He just wanted Macho Man to just do commentary. Macho said, "I still have it. Still have stuff in the tank,"
So got
and he was
the
100%
itch.
right. He fucking went another 6 solid years. Well, 5 years maybe minus like time off. 5 years because he did take some time off for some injuries and stuff like that and rest and that. But from 94 to 2001, he had 5 years in there that were up there. With, they were almost as good as what he did in WWF, man.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He had his championship runs, and he was still main eventing. And
feuding with that, and I will put it up against any feud, Macho Man and DDP, man. That feud, to have 3 pay-per-view matches and make it feel like it was a 6-year-long thing, that's special. They made that feud seem so much longer than it was, and that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, Ryan, that's going to bring us to an end to this episode of the Macho Man's WWF run. We'll see one day when we'll hit part 2, his WCW TNA run and his eventual death. RIP to Macho Man. Like I said, he runs off my top 3, and he's one of the greatest of all time. I don't know if you got anything else to say on the Macho Man before we get out of here, Ryan.
You know what? All I can do is basically mimic what you said. I mean, Christ, I'll meet you here next Monday, and we can do part 2. I'm down for his WCW run next Monday. If you want to do that, we can run that down. I'm like I said, I went down that Macho Man rabbit hole. I'm down to keep this thing going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we could
100% my top 3.
We could break down some Macho Man. It's going to be Macho Man DDP, Macho Man, I guess Hogan again.
Yeah,
Macho Man Flair. It'll be more of the same opponents, just different matches.
We might find some. We might be able to find some hidden gems in there. Yeah. We don't know. I'll do a little. You know what? I want to book that Macho Man Part 2 for next week, and I'll do some snooping and see if I can find a gem here and there. Because I think we've talked about some DDP already.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, let's see what we can find. Because like I'm down for it. It needs to be done. 1 episode for Macho Man. Like we said about a lot of guys. Some guys, 1 episode you can get it done with. Other guys you can't. Macho Man is one of those guys that you can't.
Mm-hmm.
And for sure.
All right, Ryan. Thanks a lot for joining me today and helping me out with another episode. We'll see you guys next week for part 2. Macho Man in the WCW.
Ooh, yeah. Dig it.
Yeah. I love you guys, and I'll see you guys next week. Peace out.
Subscribe.
FHP for life. Smash that like.